Welcome back to the Wormhole Extremists. My name is David. I'm with Nicole.
Hello, hello.
And Evie.
Good day.
And this is Menace, Season 5, Episode 19.
Yes, it is. So, apparently these opening scenes were filmed like right after 9/11. So, the cast had just seen the news and obviously it really hit home, especially for those with connections to New York. And Christopher Judge, who had family in the city, was particularly affected. So he actually asked to be in the background during filming because he was so shaken up.
Wow. Okay.
That's why he's kind of missing. I never knew that. That's a really interesting
Yeah,
sad
and
fact.
he's sort of a little bit missing in the next episode too, which I
Yeah.
think they must have been on like a similar schedule because I think they were filmed around the same time.
Some elements were shot from both this episode and The Sentinel on September 11th,
Yeah.
which I did not know until I recently sat down and talked with one of the actors.
Christina. Yes.
Yep, that's it. Christina Cox.
She was the first Stargate actress I ever met. So I'm looking forward to
Wow.
I'll discuss that when we
Yes,
do
please.
That's
the next
actually really
episode.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this story was written partially by James Tishner.
Yes.
He is the visual effects guru, and it's one of only 2 episodes I think he wrote in the entire series. And when he was renegotiating one of his Stargate contracts, he offered to pitch a story in lieu of a raise. So he originally envisioned the Replicator's creator as a young girl whose robot toys sort of went bananas, as he said. So originally Reese was found with her toys, and all like surviving people lived in like these really low-tech caves to avoid Replicator attention. And the pitch had SG1 reuniting Reese with her family and finding a way to beat the Replicators. But apparently Brad Wright, like, he loved the concept of a kid accidentally like unleashing this massive threat, but a lot of the details were changed. But while there were a lot of alterations to the original story, the core concept of Reese as the Replicator's creator really stuck. And despite the new direction, apparently James was still pretty happy with how it turned out.
Yep.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah.
There is a similar thread in Star Trek Discovery. It's either season 3 or season 4. Season 3, called The Burn, where all dilithium was wiped out. And at the end of the story, spoiler alert, throughout the season, to the end of the season, you find out it was a child who unleashed, who discovered his maximum potential and unleashed this threat across the galaxy. And that itself is actually based on a short story, which the name of which I cannot think of right now. But if there's someone who's a fan of Star Trek Discovery who knows that story, then yes, share that. So this is very similar in that regard.
That is cool. So this episode marks Donis Davis's 100th episode as Hammond, I believe.
Wow.
And what was I gonna say?
It's all good.
Yeah. So this episode.
This scene is sponsored by Hewlett Packard.
Yes, it is. I didn't even notice that tag. So this episode actually ties together several big themes from earlier stories. So it explores like artificial life and human consciousness in artificial environments like in Tin Man, Double Jeopardy, Scorched Earth, and Entity, and it also touches on nanotechnology that we saw in like Brief Candle, Learning Curve, Absolute Power. Plus, it reveals the Replicator's origin, which connects Nemesis, Small Victories, and Enemies.
Yes. And
the origin of the Replicators always confused me because of that. Because like it comes from Reese, but then there's also the stuff in the Atlantis galaxy, and it all kind of crossed over. But I wish I had a slimmer timeline that like clearly identified.
Everything goes back to the ancients.
Yeah,
if you go back far
that's
enough,
what I
they
do.
cause
I just
problems
try
with
to just
everything.
do that. Yeah.
So I kind of might be a little bit overanalyzing here. But
Please, overanalyze.
Like, I love overanalyzing. Do you think Reese's clothing is like symbolic? Because it has like a scaly, almost like snake-like quality to it. And like I might be reading way too much into it, but could it be like a subtle nod to her character? Like, you know, like she's seemingly harmless at first glance, but with like the potential for danger if she's pushed into a corner.
I feel like if they don't do anything with the costumes, then it's like, what are the costumes even doing?
Yeah.
So yeah, you know what? I'll take your over-analysis and take it as a good analysis.
That is one of the cleanest, coolest visual effects.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I agree.
I
totally agree.
That is so cool. You locked the camera for that one.
I really love this episode. I'm really excited to dive into it. It's just, oh.
Well, for one that's on base primarily,
I love on base episodes.
It is a pretty good episode, yeah.
When locked in the base, I feel like they thrive.
Nicole, you'd probably appreciate this a little bit more being a Friends fan, but I was going to say that this whole exchange here reminds me of the episode of Friends where Ross and Rachel are like coaching Chandler on those like automatic reflex responses to like a partner's tricky questions.
Yep.
So it's like there should be like a similar quick fire exchange between Sam and Hammond. Like, you know, can I activate the robot? No. Should we be charging the main power cell? No.
No. And then it's like, oh yeah, but what about this? No, that's a trick question. Secret answer number 3.
Funny stuff.
I like that.
Exactly.
That's why I made the doo-doo joke earlier. That was from the Chandler episode of Friends.
Yes. I got it.
Appreciate you.
I love that Michael Shanks has a chance to stretch his legs a little bit in terms of psychology in this episode.
Not around,
that's true.
but it's amazing. Like
Look
you
at
got
that shot.
the Unis episode, you got the Reese episode. It's great.
They're making the most of him while he's still on the cast, the regular cast, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so I kind of I think that Reese is kind of like a 90s computer. It takes her forever to reboot.
Gotta go through all her lines of code.
Yes.
I've tried to get Danielle on. I would love to get her on, and she has said no.
That is cool. Oh man, that's fair enough.
I hope she liked her performance from this, and it's not anything about that.
Yeah,
because I think she's stellar in this episode.
Oh,
absolutely.
For sure.
And I think this is her one and only Stargate appearance, but she actually has quite a few Stargate connections because she actually spent 40 episodes on Third Rock from the Sun with David DeLuise, aka Pete Shanahan, and obviously, she also worked with Brent Stewart, who played our original Ferretti in the movie and Dr. Cobble in Universe. So, like, she's got some Stargate connections.
She was also in The Flash, which is just, more
she
Canada.
Was. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay.
That is a thank you to Raj Luthra for pointing that out. And I would have probably, I dropped The Flash a long time ago, so I would not have remembered. Where's my father? You know where your father is.
So it was kind of interesting that Daniel didn't introduce Jack as Colonel Jack. He just called him Jack. So I kind of thought it was interesting because he uses formal titles for himself and for Sam, but it kind of makes you wonder if it was intentional. Like maybe Daniel knew that Jack would be the toughest critic of a humanoid robot, so he deliberately made Jack seem less formal.
Well,
it could be like a subtle way of making Jack appear like more approachable. Yeah, but he did call himself a doctor and he did call her a major.
True.
So
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, well, scratch that.
No, I do feel like he was just trying to, what you guys saying, that he's trying to make Jack seem just a little bit nicer, give him less of that sharp edge.
Yeah, less like corporate or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's so good in this.
Honestly.
Oh, she's incredible. She really is.
One of my favorite guests on this show, hands down. Her performance toward the end of this episode absolutely kills me.
She keeps on asking about her father, but she knows later on that they killed her father.
Yeah, she's faking real good.
She's either faking really good or her memory files are still booting up.
That's true. So her
Did she is just kind of tricked herself into thinking it?
That could be too.
Maybe,
It's immature.
Yeah.
So like
I'll bet it's more immaturity than duplicitness at this stage.
Yeah. So her storytelling style kind of reminds me of the Tok'ra. Like she's totally skipping over all the crucial parts of the story.
Comparing a Tok'ra to a replicator, harsh. Love it.
I think the Tok'ra
that's the kind of comparison Jack wants. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that Jack would say. I love it. Ooh.
Careful, darling.
Sam, honey,
Yeah.
Dial it back.
Yep. Let's sidebar, please. Let's have a sidebar.
Yeah.
Let's not go nuclear because she could very well go nuclear.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We don't know what's in there. So there is a
I love Jack here.
He wasn't included, but it's just awkward now.
There is a plot error here where he says last time you were a robot, you didn't know it right away.
Yes.
Did you notice this? Yes, because that was not them. That was the other guys. They were either unconscious or sedated or.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, maybe for me in my head canon, I would see it as like, well, Robot Jack didn't know he was right away, I guess. But yeah, no,
right.
You're right.
That's talking about Robot Jack. But you know what?
But
this
not you. Yeah.
could have been another incident off screen that they're referring to that we don't know about. That's how I organize it.
That's sensible.
Well, clearly it's our creator.
What makes me really sad in this episode is that Jack is usually really like good with kids, and he has an understanding and like this kind of like, you know, desire to look after them and make sure they're protected. And it's so sad that the moment he realizes that she's a replicator, he goes straight to just, that's the enemy.
Yeah.
And that kind of breaks my heart.
He's like kind of
the empathy.
He's designed to assess threats.
Yeah,
that's what his.
I get it.
That's
exactly
what he's not designed that way, but his mandate is that way.
It's just a bit. It's
he's
just
trained
sad
that way.
The training kind of gets in the way of the empathy that he has for kids, because she's still a kid, and Daniel's able to kind of retain that, and it's like.
So Evie, are you telling me, Evie, that Christopher was written out of this scene because of 9/11?
I think he
Likely?
was kind of he was sort of in the background, or kind of written out because he was.
Wow.
You only see him a handful of times.
He's not even here. I'm just now
affected,
realizing this.
Yeah, and in the next episode, kind of as well, because
he would have always been here before, even if he had said 2 lines.
Exactly.
You see him when he's guarding one of the replicators in one of the following scenes.
Correct.
And when he's running around with a gun.
Standing there with a gun. Yeah.
Yeah.
With Hammond?
No, Sam is with Hammond.
Yeah.
Sam is with Hammond. Okay, that's right. Well, I'm interested in playing this out from a Teal'c standpoint and seeing, you know.
Yeah. Well, you get to analyze Stargate from a different perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Yes. So on Gate World, Morjana Kaufman made an interesting comment about Reese's design. So she said that we've got like a robot with a child's mentality in a grown woman's body, like she's a young adult at least, but she's very petite, which she felt sort of subtly reinforces that childlike quality, kind of makes you feel like, you know, sorry for her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can take you back to your planet, and you can keep doing the talking from there and tell us what happened.
Yeah. Daniel's the perfect person to be doing this. This is the kind of stuff that I love to see.
So if she was sent to the surface, I do know a lot. If she was sent to the surface, she wouldn't just start replicating things, would she?
No, I don't think she'd start immediately.
She just want to see stuff.
The thing is, it's like to me, it's not like she's programmed to be a monster. It's like for me, what breaks my heart about her is that her character is so feared by people not understanding her that it turns her into a monster. And her reaction is to defend herself because she has a childlike mind.
Also, I'm pretty sure that was just reused footage from the start of the episode.
It was,
I think, just removed 2 of the figures.
I'm sure. Yeah. They probably shot that one first. There he is, and then added 2 more to the shot. So
yeah. So this is Colin Lawrence returning again as Major Warren. We actually haven't seen him since season 3's Foothold.
Okay.
So it's been a hot minute.
Oh, in the elevator, everything's under control,
sir. I can't wait to see him in Stargate again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was technically his mimetic self. Here we go.
Oh, see, this is when they find out, and they're like, we
well, because in the background, Nicole can hear this. There's like this squelching sound and this like snippet of slowed down replicator music.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's Joel cluing us in.
Yeah, you can really hear the squishy replicator noise.
Yep.
It's interesting, though, out of all the galaxies that the replicators could have come from when they went to visit the Asgard, they came from ours.
The Milky Way is a pain in the bum.
Yeah. And it suggests that a lot of galaxies may be empty.
Every other galaxy must be like just absolutely done with the Milky Way. Just like, look what you guys have done to us. Like Pegasus would have been fine if we hadn't gone over there and accidentally made Wraith. Oopsie.
Exactly. Like Milky Way's like
we
that,
made no
like,
Wraith.
Naughty younger child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, they're not entirely clued in on the fact that she even made them.
Mm.
Oh, the joke that Evie made. The meme, if anybody saw, was Evie's idea about her being like, yeah, she's just pushing them all away. Just giving off some sort of signal. It's so good.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, that just hits home a little too personally.
Oh,
Here's
classic
Christine
scene. Here
Anderson.
we go.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love this.
Him always playing with stuff.
This is so on the nose. Like the mind of a child.
Oh, it's so perfect.
Yep.
It's just RDA, right? Just
Yep.
fiddling
Yeah.
with stuff.
Absolutely.
Because he does that in one of the later seasons.
It's a plant.
Doesn't he? The
Yeah.
plant, yes.
Yeah.
And he did it with Sam as well when she was looking at something.
Oh, what you doing? Yeah, season 4.
Jed
Yeah.
said, question, do you prefer the word robot or android? You know, I use the word robot a lot, but I really do prefer the term android. So.
Yep. Or robot, android is more specific.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say, we kind of discussed this before, but I've just gotten to it in my notes. So, I was thinking, they were talking about Reese hiding something, and I was kind of thinking that there might be another option. Like Sam mentioned that Reese's memory operating systems were only at 1% when they found her. She said this like at the beginning of the episode. What if Reese's personality was like irreparably damaged due to her extended downtime?
Low
like
power.
maybe
Yeah, it
what
could
we're
have damaged
seeing
her. Yeah.
is just like a fragment of how she was originally built. Like, don't that think it might kind of explain some of her erratic and inconsistent behavior?
Possibly, but she still was childlike because she still went and made toys.
Yeah, true.
So unless she made, self-replicating robots to specifically eradicate a civilization. And I can't really say that I blame her in this situation. She's like, I want out of here. Come on.
Yeah.
This makes me so sad.
I love that scene.
Promise.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember watching this as a kid and just being so crushed for her. And as I've gotten older, my like anger for Jack just goes up so much. I understand that he was working on like his, like military brain.
Threat assessment, yeah.
But so identify with Scar. It's such a good line.
Great line.
It's really it's one of the episodes that I like, I think, because it kind of reminds me of The Other Side, where it's got Jack and Daniel on warring sides.
It's very similar.
Yeah. I love it when they don't get along.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of Daniel's line coming up of being flesh and blood is so like, just wait a couple of episodes, buddy. It's like I'm flesh and blood. Yeah, for now.
Yeah, for now.
Blood.
Oh dear.
Oh boy. I don't know how she was never told this.
Well, no, she already knows.
Or is she faking?
Yeah, she already knows. She's just annoyed.
She doesn't want to be reminded of that fact.
Yeah, she wants to be like everyone else. Like okay, I just want to say this poor child has been forced into this like, android body she didn't ask for. She didn't ask to be brought up like this and have this mind. And then everyone feared her and wanted her to die when all she wanted to do was, live and be a girl.
I think she's just trying to reinvent herself. Like she's trying to forget her past and just start afresh as someone new. But now they've reminded her and she's gone all crazy.
Yeah. I just feel so bad for her.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know whether I don't know. Yeah, well exactly. Yeah, I don't know whether to feel sorry for her or not. Like she could have just been that way the entire time, but she's so devious that she was hiding those aspects, aspects of her personality.
For me, absolutely not. The way I've seen this always, it's like she's too immature in her reactions to everything to have that deviousness, in my opinion. Like I don't see that. This is a great episode for that.
Don't shove you through a wall.
Yeah, ouchie. I just love the fact that this is a child, and everyone forgets that it's a child, and they think that this robot is
just
manipulating
the code the
nasty.
wrong way around.
Yeah, I hate when they do that. See, look, this is the kind of stuff that I would do. I'd have like a spat with my family and then go straight for that. Do you forgive me? Is it okay? Like I'm sorry. It's like. Yeah, see, this poor brain of hers. She's like, you attacked me.
Didn't attack
I don't know.
Yeah, but to her that was an attack, like
verbally,
mentally. Like she didn't like what she was hearing, and she was
that's
upset.
true.
And you know what? If you think back to like when she was, on her planet, she probably got told over and over again that she wasn't like the others, that she was broken and different and alien to everybody. And then they went after her with pitchforks of some kind. And then her dad had to like, well, she shut herself down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, silly child brain of hers. Very sad.
She had access to enough metal to build.
Yeah, they didn't realize that they made that big of an oopsie.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, Daniel's like, thanks for that, Reese, but what's your return policy? It's like a gift.
Oh, look at that.
It's quite cute though, isn't it?
It is cool.
So if you'll notice, the CG replicator blocks are different in design. They have 3 dots on them, whereas the physical replicator blocks have lines on them. See, look, right there.
Like that.
It's completely different.
Yes, you're completely
right.
That's
tap on the glass,
obvious difference that they could have fixed.
Well, I don't know. It could be like a trick of the eye. Like maybe the replicators are evolving faster than a VFX team can keep
up. Because you see them in close up later on when I think Daniel falls over and they flap their wings at him.
They do.
Yeah.
But in terms of the visuals for this episode, is just absolutely amazing. Well, those scissors are gone.
Yeah.
Cool effect.
It is cool.
Candy Mitch said, seems like she put her emotions into the replicators she made. Yeah, like she was looking for a friend and she's like letting out her frustration into them.
But when she makes too many of them, she loses control.
Yeah, that's really sad.
She does, yeah.
Oh yeah, that'll go over well.
About that.
I'm sure the Asgard want to be involved.
Of course they would.
Yeah.
They would be all over that if they could.
I can't believe they let it let them put her in a they no metal bed for you.
Yeah, they just
in a box
back the room.
Yep. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I would be done with this at this point. I'd be like, you know what? Let me go. Take me home.
Yeah.
I don't even want to see your freaking planet anymore. I'm done.
So, Morjana praised Martin Wood's decision. So he was directing this episode to show the different angles of the isolation room. So she thought it kind of allowed us to see the action from Sam and Tilk's point of view, but from like different angles, and it kind of like helped to ramp up the tension.
Yep.
Oof.
Uh-oh.
The thing is, it's like not entirely her fault. Like when you get back to it, right? She didn't make herself. So? Her dad made her, and then she made an oopsie.
So Pol Pot's mother is responsible for making Pol Pot, not what Pol Pot did to millions of his own people.
I didn't even know who that is. So.
Oh. Okay. Well, I wasn't going to use the one that starts off with an H because everyone only knows about that one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that one's terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, given you use that in that kind of thing. Yeah, but like, so I don't go to blaming the parent on everything, but in this case, it's like she's literally a machine that was programmed and made to be a certain way, and her dad made her a certain way.
Her father's not there to defend himself. Her actions are her own.
I don't see it that way because she's a child. She was given the mentality of a child, and she does not have complete control over it. And you see the way that she is.
She's, a relatively new sentient being and perceives everything through that lens.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a good combination.
Yeah. It's an interesting debate for sure.
Candy Mitch says she's a machine, a thing. I mean, we're all things.
Makes me so sad.
But what the difference is the substance that you imbue it. And she clearly feels.
I have a very similar kind of like response to things. So, and it's something I have to work on personally. But when someone says something to me that I don't like, and that like kind of, sometimes I take personal offense to things.
Sure.
Where like they'll tell me something and I take it kind of like that. And
welcome to the human race.
Yeah, and I feel the need to like overly defend myself. And it's like if I was her and I was a machine that felt lonely, abandoned, and isolated, I would probably have a very similar reaction. You
Yeah.
know, at an adolescent age. If I was like 14, I'd be doing that, you know.
Okay,
Wouldn't
where
want
did that
to.
container of bug spray come from?
Yeah, so that's the
That's
thing. So
always what I want to know.
didn't they have
Yeah.
that in Small
They
Victories?
had it in
Yep.
Small Victories,
But they
I
never
think, yeah.
explain how the blocks, and suddenly make bug spray.
Maybe they melt down some of their alloys.
You know what?
Yeah.
We just put that aside.
Just to set that one aside. She felt that it was destroyed, and that's the
When
important
they
thing
munch
going
away, you know, the munch has got to go somewhere.
Oh,
and
I
that's
know,
what the spray is.
absolutely.
So, like, I have a question. Do you think the Asgard have like a messenger service? So, hi, you've reached the Asgard. Please leave a message after the beam.
After the beam.
Beam.
That's funny.
I always think about that episode of Atlantis where Bill's doing the whole like the Twilight bark from
Yes.
101
Oh
Dalmatians.
man, that's so funny.
And then he goes straight to Lord
Lord
of the Rings.
because everyone
And-
knows that one. Lord
Yeah.
of the Rings.
And I always imagine
The
that
lighting
that's
of the
how they
fires.
contact the Asgard. They just, you know, try to get as close as possible to.
Well, they go to
like,
the
edge.
Kitao Hall of Wisdom.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
But I always assume that when they don't have stuff like that, or they're trying to figure something out, they're like, "Oh, edge of space, you know, send something out there." Don't know why.
So,
Yeah, thank you, Daniel.
I was gonna ask you guys, what do you think about like this being the Replicators' origin story? Like, a Redditor kind of raised an interesting point. Does learning that they came from Reese, essentially a troubled child, make them seem less menacing? Like,
No.
did this backstory oversimplify what was once a complex enemy?
I see it as more complex for me. I think it's more interesting than just they just like sprang up one day from like the bogs. To me, like bog standard things is like experiment goes wrong, blah blah, which is kind of what Reese is. But I think Reese adds an interesting human element to the replicator creation of just like a person who's like suffering and doesn't know how to deal with it, and that's how the monster got made. And I think that that's more interesting than the menacing nature of them originally.
Yeah.
Part of me wishes we didn't get that origin story. And when this episode came out, it took me a little while to accept the fact that, okay, these things are toys. I guess they're toys. I guess I would enjoy having one of them as a toy when I was little.
I do think that
I would
in a
expect something
way,
a little bit more soft and fluffy.
I would have liked
but, you
a
know.
different machine thing
Yeah.
that she made that killed everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've come to really appreciate Reese's story as I've gotten
I actually
older.
don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind the Replicator's origin story because it's so out of left field. Like
It really is.
You don't really see it coming.
No, you
No.
go so long of the episode without realizing, and then suddenly the block comes in, and you're like, "Whoa," you know.
Well, I love Tishner's like base idea that something so awful and so transformative can come from something so simple.
Yeah.
And something so innocent, seemingly.
Yeah.
I think that's what really draws me to this is the fact that it is just Reese is so innocent, you know, she's just child.
She doesn't want to kill these guys. She just wants out.
Yeah.
You know? But all the replicators want is out.
Like how many, you know, stories of like bad things that happen in the world and bad people.
Yeah.
Seemingly bad people come from like something as heartbreaking as like abandonment and trust issues and stuff, you know? It's a very I love Android stories because they tell such a human story, because it's that whole thing about how like sci-fi and fantasy are not a story about the future or the past. They're a story about the now through a different lens.
They're allegorical.
Yeah, and that is what Reese is. You know, Reese is kind of just, you know, what happens when you don't treat someone right and you make judgments on things like that, you know?
So, like, Sam was like questioning where the other replicators came from. So I kind of had a few theories about what's going on with these replicators, and I'm curious to know what you guys think. So I think the first option would be, like Carter suggested, did Reese have a secret stash of blocks on standby? I think option 2 would be maybe Daniel's little replicator friend was sneakier than we thought and managed to multiply before he even knew it existed. Like, were there like replicators?
Well, she just said, she must have had enough metal to make 2 of them the first time around. Yeah. I think that this is more that she knows that they are more than just toys. They also know that she also knows that they are her protectors, and I think she made enough to make 1 more.
Yeah.
So. And also, that one, there was a chance that she knew that it would be taken away from her, and through it, she would be able to see elsewhere in the base through its eyes.
Yeah, that's
I do think that the term toy that she uses is like just a simplified version for like her mind.
Or a companion.
A child. Yeah, maybe. She doesn't really like have any other way to put it, so she just says toy because she doesn't have a full understanding of like,
maybe
that's her limited vocabulary.
Because I was thinking I was thinking that because she was like eyeing off that camera, so I was kind of thinking that maybe she was like sizing it up for potential replicator matter.
I like that.
This is so cool.
This is a very cool shot.
It's really cool. It's like supervillain vibes. Also, this is like one of the rare times that we see Hammond in combat fatigue, wielding
he looks
a
good.
shotgun.
Yep.
Yeah, and he teaming up with like Carter is like the duo I wasn't expecting.
Father-daughter kind of
wasn't
vibes
expecting
almost.
you wanted. Yeah, didn't realize you want. Yep.
Didn't realize I wanted it.
Roger just said this would be the origin story of the second generation of replicators, as the first generation was the Asurans. Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I thought. But like, it's a weird timeline of replicator on replicator, because how many iterations and who really is the starter of everything?
Yeah,
I always believed that Reese's father was Janice.
Oh, I love that idea so much.
Oh, that is interesting.
David, that is a spicy idea. And as a lover of Janice, I'm really for it. But I feel sad as to what he created.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he probably knew better, because the replicators that he knew were generations before him. But at the same time, I think he created this android probably as a companion for being so lonely. And then she went and, the whole ancient design of what they are was also in her system. And she came to a lot of the same conclusions, i.e. another kind of replicators.
Yeah.
Because they are of a completely different kind. Which is the only explanation, as far as I'm concerned, that these replicators spending a long enough time alone by themselves were able to mimic the design and shape of what came from the very beginning.
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting. I like that.
It's never explicitly stated in the show that the Asuran replicators are the grandparents of the Milky Way replicators. It's never explicitly stated, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I love Joel's music in this episode. Yeah. This is so cool.
Oh, this is such a cool shot as well. Like, it's just so menacing. The thing is,
menacing, really? Menacing?
Yeah, I think
interesting.
Then, title. They're now painting her in such a negative light, and it's so sad. And it's like everyone's now gone completely like DEFCON 1. She's evil, and it makes me so sad.
I don't know. I'm still on the fence about whether this was her intention all along. I was going to say as well, like, Nicole, you keep calling her a child. She's actually 2 years younger than Michael Shanks.
What?
What? I think it's 2 years. They're actually really close in age.
Looks good.
Michael was also young.
He was, but
he's a baby too.
I mean, she's quite
But we're not calling him a child.
She's got great complexion. So, and her acting does so much for her youth in this. But she's got a mind of a child. That's why I keep calling her a child. I don't actually think the actress looks like a child, if not, Yeah, that's
also, I think we kind of missed it, but you should keep an ear out and also an eye out for her footwear, because like currently she's wearing heeled boots.
Shoes, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say
is there
changes, but yeah.
Really, her footwear?
Yeah,
I didn't notice that.
Well, it's definitely heeled boots, and you can hear it making noises against the ramp.
See, right here with the "I want to be your friend."
Yep.
It's like, and the way she looks, like I cannot believe in any way that any of this is manipulation, because it's him manipulating her right now, and she is like, if she wanted Daniel to die and to kill everybody, she would, She's just.
I believe that he's in earnest as soon as he can get to her neck.
Yeah, that's what really upset me, is that I feel she really like trusts him, and he's the one person she does kind of trust. And then to have him betray her like everyone else had in the past, of course she's gonna react poorly. Like, look how genuine this is, and look, she just wants to be loved. But Daniel, you sack of
See right there, the dots.
Yes, the dots. Yes.
Flying is bad. I love how the replicators fly up the wall and over the camera.
Yeah.
Yes, that is
was
really
such
cool.
a cool idea. Yeah, such a good shot.
But even in this moment, right? She doesn't kill Daniel. She's not killing him.
No,
she's upset. She's not doing it.
She doesn't want anyone to die. She just wants out of there.
I can't believe that anything that she's doing is nefarious or bad. She's just sad. I want to give her a hug, and I want to take her out for some food that she probably won't be able to eat, but she can at least look at and smell.
And she'll thank you with a replicator.
But you would never be sure of her motives. So
yes,
that's the thing.
I don't know. I trust her implicitly. I don't know how else to say it. You know, I honestly don't think she's bad. She's just got issues.
Aww.
This is the thing, when you have androids in a story, people just feel they can't trust them because like the whole programming thing. But like we have Harlan, the only like surviving android that we get to really appreciate on this show.
And he went and duplicated us, for crying out loud. So
I know, but no one ever had problems with him being an android. Everyone was like, yeah, he's fine. You know, but every other android we come across, we got beef. It's sad.
We'll do some quick talking here, Daniel.
Yeah. This part really hurts me. Oh, I'm so upset.
And some parts, some things get
done.
Yeah, exactly.
Were they actually attacking in that moment?
What do you mean?
The replicators.
Were they
just
attacking?
They're moving towards the forces. Yeah.
Or were they actually attacking in that moment?
They were starting to. They were beginning to advance. They want out.
I don't know if someone just had an itchy trigger finger.
So what is this bomb? What is this thing made of?
Isn't it just like a big
know.
ass nuke? Also, there was a shot there with the corridor where there are replicators running around, and there's a mount that they're kind of crawling on. I think they reused that shot in season 8 when the replicators are
all
about.
kinds of things.
Yes,
yeah, because Jack is in this corridor again.
Yep.
While Daniel, Carter, and Teal'c doing their things.
Yep.
And he's standing right there trying to shoot the replicators down the exact same corridor.
It's the same threat, so you'll find a lot of the shots in this episode are reused in that.
I'm all right with that. So. Jed Ted said, "Does this unit have a soul?" Jed Ted, that was mean. There's this robot in Mass Effect 3 called Legion, who's my favorite, and he's part of the enemy forces, and no one trusts him. And then when he's about to die, he turns to everyone and says, "Does this unit have a soul?" And then he dies, and I cry every time.
You know the story behind that name, right?
Legion. No.
Christ casts a demonic spirit into a bed of pigs. And as it's being destroyed, he asks, "What is your name?" And it says, "Our name is Legion, for we are many."
That's really... I've always wondered what Legion actually meant. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And it makes sense for an android that people don't trust to be given that kind of name.
It's thinking.
Yeah, see, I'm starting to identify with this replicator more and more.
Brilliant. See, here's the moment. So there's always this question toward the end of the episode when the replicator does that. Is it Reese trying to assert control again, or properly, or is it...
She's thinking.
Or is it her thinking? And they ask that question in a minute.
Over.
But to me, I've always seen it as she's thinking things over, because the replicators would carry on doing their thing. She hasn't come to, like, they're not losing control. They're going to carry on killing. The only reason they'd slow down is because of Reese. And I don't see this as crocodile tears, because she's most...
No, I believe her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's no actual tears, but
she shut herself off, because she was in so much pain. They all left. They all left her planet. So...
Oh, I would have really loved Reese to come back. Every time they reference her, it makes me really sad.
That's the thing. I wish that, because they did hand her over to the Asgard.
Yeah. But they would just refer to her as like an android. Yeah.
Yeah. She could have been the key to stopping them.
She has the name. Yeah.
These red lit with the red lights, the panels behind Sam to the right, those are later moved to the Daedalus set and the Prometheus set.
Oh, cool.
It matches the color scheme.
Uh-huh.
So. Oh, Jack, I'm so every time I'm always like, please don't, don't like it's gonna change this time.
The tone in Tilk's voice coming up, it's like one that we don't usually hear from him. He actually sounds like really stressed.
This is a shot that's reused later. That's a
stressed.
great sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big stress. No, Jack, you son of a...
Well, keep an eye on her shoes. They're different.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
like flat.
Yeah, I saw that.
So maybe it's a new replicator feature we didn't know about.
Oh, she's closing up.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. It's like buckshot. She shut him off. She didn't have to do that.
See, I could never believe this is malicious. I'm forever angry at Jack about this.
He made his call.
I know.
Yeah, he did.
Just like he does, to betray Fifth in just a few episodes.
Oh, don't get me started on that either.
Yeah.
So Jack's lack of trust of androids pisses me off.
Michael's great. His acting here is
He's very good. So I have a lot that I wanted to squeeze into like the next couple of minutes. So I'll just quickly go through it. So this interaction between Jack and Daniel is so freaking powerful. Like Jack understands Daniel's angry about the whole situation, and they like, they had a lack of options. But as Mojana said in Gate Worlds, like, it's refreshing to see adult characters who can disagree without losing respect for each other. Like, real friendship isn't about always agreeing, it's about like understanding. And Jack was willing to let Daniel hate him if it meant like keeping him safe. And a Redditor shared an interesting take on the scene. They loved how it showcased Jack and Daniel's contrasting viewpoints, like without painting either of them as completely right or completely wrong. And in their eyes, Daniel saw Reese as like a powerful but misguided child who just needed proper guidance, where Jack, on the other hand, as we've sort of discussed, viewed her as more of a dangerous machine with a history of violence. And like, being a military leader, Jack couldn't gamble everyone's safety on the chance that Daniel's approach might work. Yeah, it is very powerful stuff.
But I'm always a give a chance, because like without chances, like what even are we?
Well, you also grew up with Battlestar Galactica. They let the Cylons go in the end.
Yeah.
And
I actually hadn't seen Battlestar, obviously, when I saw this episode.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
I always had I don't know why. I think that's why I like Battlestar so much, is because these kinds of episodes are the ones that affect me the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think even though Reese was irreparably damaged, the Asgard will find a command code in her calling all the replicators forward.
Yep.
And this eventually leads to the creation of the human form replicators in unnatural selection.
When they have enough time on their hands.
And I think Joe Malozzi was a big fan of Reese and Danielle Nicolette's performance. And I think he even started brainstorming ways to bring her back right after killing her off, but it didn't quite pan out. So
she's the lead villain in Stargate Oblivion, the 6-book novel series that I created. Yeah. She wasn't destroyed.
Yeah, she definitely made a mark on the series for sure.
Yep.
I'm currently trying to like restrain tears.
Oh,
there you go.
As soon as they start screaming at each other about like being friends and saving her, I start bawling
because Daniel's being genuine.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It's.
All righty, folks. That was Menace. Thanks for watching.